Hey everyone, it's Luca. Let's fight Geten on Class SS difficulty in My Hero Ultra Impact. We've gotten several new characters since his last rerun that make this fight a lot easier. So if you have some of these characters, give them a try. I have 5 teams that I'll be showcasing today. Please use the timestamps to navigate and let me know how your clears are going. 3 character teams are amazing for this fight. You only need to build 3 characters. Your characters keep their buffs, and you don't have to worry about having your skills ready. This is what is recommended for the fight. Critical hit rate up, critical resistance down, and evasion. I am running Friends Who Call Out Your Name on Toga, Strong Battle Formation on Hagakure, and Full Power Young Ones on Bakugo. It's not mentioned in the strategy, but Penetrate is very helpful. Piercing Shot is also helpful in Phase 1 and 2, but it can be dangerous to use in Phase 3 and 4, unless the character is New Year's Mina, who restricts her own status elements, or you have a different way to deal with Frost, which I will show in a later clear in the same video. ABL and DST type characters are debuffed, so they have a harder time, but you can still bring them if needed. Strength has crit rate and crit res buffed, so they do have an easier time. Int and Mind aren't affected at all by any buffs or debuffs, so they'll do fine, but they could use more help with damage buffs. This is what Geten and Re-Destro can do in Phase 1. Managing Frost is important. If you deal a lot of damage while you have high Frost, you can easily die from it. On this first team, I have chosen to use Gather Radiance Hagakure as my support character to help me deal with Frost. I will be sacrificing Mirio and Kirishima in Phase 1. I brought these two specifically because they have cover in their skills. Just unlock up to the 4th node on board 1. Using these two skills will guarantee that they will definitely be taken out turn 1. And now we have our full team here. We will be using Hagakure first, Toga second, and Bakugo third. If we crit 5 times in Phase 1, our characters become ecstatic, which means our plus ultras will charge faster. Being able to use plus ultras helps our characters deal 30,000 damage or more in Phase 2 against Re-Destro. I'm using Gathered Radiance Hagakure as my support character. Power to Change the Future Bakugo is my main DPS, and he makes the team super safe thanks to his block. So if you have him, I recommend including him on the team. Summer Toga is here as the second DPS, but since she is not strength, she will have a harder time reaching 30,000 skill damage or more in Phase 2, which is why I'm actually not running her signature memory. Instead, I have Friends Who Call Out Your Name on her. You'll want memories that boost power or skill impact to help your DPS characters deal 30,000 damage or more. You can replace Toga with whoever your best DPS character is. A strength character definitely helps. On this 3-character team, I suggest not bringing a DPS character with Piercing Shot since your characters will stay in for the entire fight. New Year's Mina is the only exception. She should work great here thanks to her status element restriction. This is what Re-Destro and Geten can do in Phase 2. In Phase 2, Re-Destro has aggro and tranquility. We need to deal 30,000 skill damage or more against him 5 times to get him to 30 stress. This damage needs to come from our action skills or plus ultras and not normal attacks. We can't crit, so we have to rely on power and skill damage boosts. Piercing Shot is also helpful here. You can see that Bakugo easily deals enough damage. Summer Toga, not quite as much, kind of borderline. A strength character would be able to do this more easily, or a character with Piercing Shot, but again, I don't suggest bringing Piercing Shot on this 3-character team unless it's New Year's Mina. Hagakure is very helpful here with boosting their power. Re-Destro is now at 18 stress, so almost there. 24 stress now, so 1 more skill damage over 30,000 would do it. We'll use all of our plus ultras. Unfortunately, we still need to target Re-Destro. So he is now above 30 stress, and we will select Geten to target him and take us to Phase 3. That takes us to Phase 3. In Phase 3, we simply want to deal damage to Geten. This is when using Piercing Shot against him and Re-Destro gets dangerous. He'll apply more Frost, and Re-Destro will also power up. New Year's Mina should still work fine here though, since she does restrict her own status elements. Hagakure does a very good job healing and nullifying our status elements every 2 turns, so she helps us deal with Frost, Frostbite, and Freeze very nicely. These are their skills in Phase 3. We will continue the same skill order of Hagakure, Toga, then Bakugo. All in on Geten. Bakugo does such a great job at tanking, but he can still receive damage from Frost. That takes us to Phase 4. And all 3 of these characters of mine are base copy. I do always like to start with a clear with base copy units. In Phase 4, we want to defeat Re-Destro first. If he is not defeated, we cannot defeat Geten. Re-Destro is also the one who drops the cases. If you see 2 cases, that means you got double drops. These are their skills in Phase 4. Both Geten and Re-Destro hit super hard in this phase. Geten gives us a lot of Frost. Evasion does help us deal with that as well if you have evasion on your team. And here we have Re-Destro's skills. We'll use the same skill order. Hagakure, Toga, then Bakugo. We will target Re-Destro. Re-Destro defeated, and now we just hit Geten. And that is a clear with a sacrificial R team. You can see the run was super safe. Super safe. Full base copy team. In this second clear, I showcase a full team against Geten, and when it is fine to use Piercing Shot. Hatsume is another great support in this fight who can boost our damage, increase our max HP, heal us, and reduce our status element effective time. I'm running these memories on everyone. Friends who call out your name on Hawks, I'm watching you on Deku, Strong Battle Formation on Hatsume, Lively Festival for Team Cooldown on Bakugo, and Full Power Young Ones on Toga. On the front line, I am using 2 characters with Piercing Shot. They will help deal 30,000 skill damage against Re-Destro in Phase 2. We'll be using the skill order of Hatsume, Deku, then Hawks. You can use whoever your best DPS characters are here. Strength characters and characters with Piercing Shot will have the easiest time against Re-Destro. We'll be using Hatsume first, then Deku, and finally Hawks. These 2 are Ruler of the Edge Hawks and Ruler of the Edge Deku. They get pretty close to Phase 2 from just that. Very close. But staying in Phase 1 for 2 turns is not bad, because if you crit enough in Phase 1, then you become ecstatic, which is pretty good. You definitely don't need ecstatic if you already have plus ultra gauge from your characters. But if you don't, then ecstatic is very helpful here. This takes us to Phase 2, and we now have to target Re-Destro. He has aggro. We're going to use all of our plus ultras on him. He gains 6 stress each time we land over 30,000 skill damage, and we want to get him to 30 stress. Hatsume could also get to 30,000 damage if you use a DPS memory on her instead of strong battle formation like what I currently have. Hawks and Deku both dealt enough damage, so Re-Destro is now at 12 stress. We will use all of our skills on him. "24 stress, almost there. One more hit will do it. Alright, now we will target Geten. So let's select him and use all of our plus ultras on him. We're almost at the phase change. We do have a full team. Hatsume will be the one staying in, so I want to save her skills for the swap. Let's use only these two skills, Deku and Hawks, so that Hatsume has her skills ready for phase 3. That takes us to phase 3. Now both of my piercing shot units are swapped out, which is good. Using piercing shot now will apply frost on us and power up Re-Destro. So it's safer not to use piercing shot in phase 3 and 4. You could still use it sparingly. Victorious Bakugo does have piercing shot on his plus ultra, but thankfully it's only on his plus ultra, so it won't hurt us too much. I have these two strength characters here now, Bakugo and Toga, who both do very well with the mechanics in this fight. We'll use Hatsume, then Bakugo, and finally Toga. Some other characters who are also good here would be Summer Mirko and Julio. You can also use New Year's Mina, Steampunk Shiggy, Power to Change the Future Bakugo, and the new Instant Clash Best Jeanist. They also work well frontline. Feel free to ask in the comments for other suggestions. It only takes them 2 turns to complete phase 3, which is very good. Now instead of Hatsume, you could also use Gathered Radiance Hagakure, Rapid Resolve Deku, or Fluttering Snow Froppy. Know the Nose Jiro is also great, but maybe we'll have a more difficult time with cooldowns. Alright, we are now in phase 4. We're going to unleash all of the plus ultras on Re-Destro. Let's use Hatsume, Bakugo, then Toga. And again, we still need to target Re-Destro. We want to take him out so that we can defeat Geten. Okay, he's gone. Now we can target Geten. Let's use Hatsume, Bakugo, Toga. Final turn, and we will use all of the plus ultras on Geten. Geten defeated once again, and also a fairly safe team to use. In this third clear, I simply wanted to show how funny decaying Re-Destro's health with Shiggy is. I have full power young ones, take down the Disaster Walker, and strong battle formation on my characters. This is a double Shiggy team, though one Shiggy is enough for this. It is just so funny how we can decay Re-Destro's health. And I want to see how much we can decay his health. So again, full power young ones on Steampunk Shiggy, strong battle formation on Hagakure, and take down the Disaster Walker on Destruction Incarnate Shiggy. We sacrifice Miro and Kirishima once again so that we can have our actual team for the rest of the fight, which will be 2 Shiggys and Hagakure. Destruction Incarnate Shiggy is a DST character, so he does have a harder time here. I just thought it would be so funny to use double Shiggy to decay Re-Destro's health a ton. Steampunk Shiggy can already do this by himself though. We will be using Hagakure first, Destruction Incarnate Shiggy, and then Steampunk Shiggy. Thanks to Hagakure, we can keep our Barefoot Shiggy here safe in this fight. So let's use Hagakure, Shiggy, then Shiggy. This takes us to phase 2. where we are forced to target Re-Destro. Now, this is the fun part, where we are going to decay Re-Destro's health so much. We're just going to keep hitting him and decay all of his health. Again, just Steampunk Shiggy is enough for this. I also showed a clear with Steampunk Shiggy in my previous videos, a full team. "24 stress, so one more hit over 30,000 will take us. Well, we'll take away his aggro. Okay, now we will target Geten. And Re-Destro's health is almost fully decayed by now. This takes us to phase 3. And you can see Re-Destro has no HP left. He's basically at 1 HP. 99% HP decay. His skills are sealed because of that. Alright, Hagakure, Shiggy, then Shiggy. Same skill order each time. That takes us to phase 4. No healing for you, Re-Destro. We'll go ahead and use all of the plus ultras on Geten, since Re-Destro is at 1 HP. Done. We won turn phase 4 thanks to all the HP decay. Now Shiggy's HP does get very dangerous because of Frost, but we have Last Stand thanks to Hagakure. You could also wait a turn to deal with Frost. In this 4th clear, I want to show you how you could use a Piercing Shot character for the entire fight if you bring along Summer Mina and someone who could help keep Summer Mina healthy. So Ruler of the Edge Hawks, who has permanent Piercing Shot, Hatsume to keep Mina healthy, and Mina to restrict our temporary status elements so we aren't affected by Frost throughout this fight. We need to keep Mina alive and above 30% HP so she can restrict our status elements. This way we can only have, at most, 5 status elements, which means Frost won't affect us much at all. We can hit Geten as much as we want. We will sacrifice Mirio and Kirishima once again in this fight on turn 1. I am running full power Young Ones on Hawks, Splash Hunt on Summer Mina, and Friends Who Call Out Your Name on Hatsume to see if maybe she can also deal 30,000 skill damage or more in phase 2. Alright, our full team is now here. Well, I mean, the rest of the team is now here. The team for the rest of the fight will use the skill order of Mina, Hatsume, then Hawks last. The goal of this team is to show you that you can bring Piercing Shot safely if you have Summer Mina on the team. But Mina can die easily in this fight if you aren't protecting her with a second support of some kind, which is why I have Hatsume here as well. She can also reduce status element effective time, so Frost is really not a problem at all on this team. You can also use Piercing Shot if you bring Ruler of the Edge Shoto, who completely negates Frost. He does give the team tranquility, so you'll need to focus on power and skill damage boosts and not crits. Ruler of the Edge Shoto also works well as solo DPS with 4 supports. You don't have to worry about Frost at all. They have taken us to phase 2. In this phase, we're going to have to target Re-Destro, and Hawks will have no problem dealing enough damage for us, so let's just keep hitting Re-Destro. You know, Mina and Hatsume got pretty close to the damage needed. Alright, so let's check out why this team works so well. We have status element restriction 2-5, so they will never have a lot of frost applied on them, or frostbite or freeze. My supports are doing nice damage too. Now we can target Geten. We'll use the same skill order, Mina, Hatsume, then Hawks. And that takes us to phase 3. In phase 3, Hawks can still safely deal damage despite having permanent piercing shot. Mina and Hatsume will be keeping Frost in check for the team. We'll continue using the same skill order. We will be buffing Hawks with Mina. They are limited to 5 frost, which is good. Not too much. That takes us to phase 4. We'll be selecting Re-Destro to take him out first. Same skill order, Mina, Hatsume, then Hawks. Let's use all of their plus ultras. We do have to be careful because piercing shot does power up Re-Destro, so he starts hitting harder and harder. But thankfully, we don't have to deal with frost. Getting taken out once again, this time with a piercing shot main DPS for the entire fight. In this final clear, I have friends who call out your name on Toga. That's all on Deku for skill impact, and full power young ones on Julio for crit. I simply wanted to showcase other characters who are good in this fight. In this final clear, Rapid Result Deku was released during Gen's first appearance, and Julio was released during a rerun. Both deal with the mechanics very well. This is yet another R strategy team where we sacrifice the R characters, so we have our actual team for the entire fight. I wanted to take this time to just ramble about some characters who are very good for this fight. Some of the best supports are Gathered Radiance Hagakure, Hatsume Mei, Rapid Resolve Deku, Fluttering Snow Froppy, and Nail the Notes Jiro. Summer Mina also works if you have a second support with her. You can also use Celeb Momo, Celeb Shoto, and Celeb Deku. For your DPS characters, Power to Change the Future Bakugo, Summer Mirko, New Year's Mina, Steampunk Shiggy, I Victorious Bakugo, Love and Bloodshed Toga, and Instant Clash Best Genus are among the top choices. You can also bring Mind or Int characters if needed. They have taken us to phase 2. In phase 2, we will be targeting Re-Destro as always. I would say that Geten's best UR plus skill is the one that gives him more chance at landing his status elements, Frostbite and Freeze. I've been re-rolling his X skills so much, and I have finally successfully re-rolled the skill right before this rerun, so I no longer need this rerun. I don't need his pieces at all, so I have just been testing random teams against him. Alright, we can now target Geten. Deku and Julio are both very good in this fight thanks to Penetrate and Evasion. We use Deku, Toga, then Julio for our skill order on this team. We'll use all of our plus ultras, and that takes us to phase 4. Once again, phase 4. Let me know in the comments if you need any other suggestions, and let me know what teams have been working for you. Alright, we're gonna target Re-Destro, and we'll once again defeat both of them. The evasion is so good. Re-Destro defeated, paralyzed, and one more shot takes him out. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with all your farming. I hope to see you in the next video. Luca out.